Hello and welcome to today's video. I'm filming inside and it's evening. Today I'm going to talk about a topic which is very close to my heart. I'm going to talk about my story. So yesterday I filmed a video on books or knowledge, and as I have alluded to ongoingly, I have written my story, which is effectively my life story. But with the emphasis on the spiritual journey part of it, which prompted me to really sit down and do that writing. And I just wanted to go a little bit further into that story, how it came about, where it is to read, and what I hope to for it to give to people in the future. So I'm fairly ceremonially dressed tonight. The reason being, as I mentioned, it's a very special video for me. I'm surrounded by some of my very precious things. You might see some smoke popping up in front of me. That's an incense burning, which is a chakra balancing incense. I speak a lot about the chakras in my videos and in my writings. I also have with me my scepter or wand from G.U.R.U. So that's with me very special in terms of its magic associated with it. I write about that in one of my stories as well. Surrounded also with my pendulums. I've got my tarot chakra deck with me. I'm wearing a couple of rings. One is a Knight Templar ring and the other is a dragon ring. Again, very significant symbolism in those for me. I write about them as to what that means. I take the positive from those, so everything has that positive and negative polarity to it. But these are significant symbols of positivity for me. So in summary, I guess I'm surrounded by a lot of energy, a lot of my special magic symbolism for tonight. And I'll get right into the subject of my story and how it came about, perhaps. So in 2023, I met a traveller from Ireland in New Zealand, a younger lady, and I write about her extensively. She had a very significant impact upon me. And at the time of meeting her, and when we were deeply discussing spiritual matters, she did mention to me at one stage about the stories that I was able to bring to the conversation, and she effectively asked me at one stage when I might be writing my life story. And I had never really considered that in the past, I don't think, but it did really sow a seed, so to speak, within my being, and it got me thinking. But it wasn't quite the right time, and like anything, time for everything and everything in its time. So I kind of left it at that, and my life carried on, and the journey carried on. And jumping forward to 2025, I ended up, of course, going to Peru for very significant travels. And, of course, I attended my spiritual retreat, just so significant, life-changing that. Just the whole experience, the whole plant medicines and what it did for me. And I've spoken about those in different videos and definitely expanded upon in my writings in the latter chapters of that writing. Subsequent to the 1 week at the retreat, I then took what's known as the Peru Hop bus, which is basically a hop-on, hop-off bus that travels from Lima down to Cusco. It's quite a big trip, that. I mean, if you're staying one night in each of I think it's about 5 towns and cities on the way down, it'll take you about 5 days to get down, but of course you might stay a few more days than that. But I found on that bus, immediately I was, starting to chat to people, and a lot of younger couples travelling, and they asked me what I had been doing, and of course I mentioned the retreat, and soon enough starting to talk about some of these just amazing insights that I was getting or had gotten from the retreat. And they were just so interested. There were times I was saying, well, if I'm telling you too much, just tell me to stop. And they said, no, carry on. And so I sort of felt, oh, okay, I've got a story to tell, and people are interested, and maybe they're interested in just gaining that insight as to what I'd gained from that. And I met one of the couples I met from Australia. The male was very interested in spiritual matters, and listened to my stories and chatting to me about himself. And at one stage he said, well, when are you going to write your life story? And I said, I think I'm going to write it when I get back to New Zealand from this 4 weeks in Peru. And the other thing he said, well, what are you going to call it? And sort of immediately I knew what it was going to be, because the trip to Peru, I had labelled the trip Living the Magic, or Viviendo la Magia, which is the Spanish, having, of course, gone to a Spanish-speaking country. And I just knew immediately that it was going to be that. So subsequent to my return to New Zealand, bought myself a laptop. I didn't have a working one at that time, and started my travels around the country again in August. And I settled down to writing a story. And it took me about 10 weeks, maybe 3 or 4 hours a day, mainly parking up at beaches, which I've mentioned again as a very significant place for me in my life, just to spend a lot of times at beaches. And after 10 weeks, I was in a position where I'd edited it as many times as possible, and I decided that I'd probably post it on a website, which I at that stage didn't have but got developed. And there it went in a PDF form, and it was 79,000 words. And I will say I was very, very pleased with it. It was complete as I could make my life and spiritual journey to then. And I felt that it was a story that was full of magic. But more significantly, I felt that it was a story that could show people not a how-to manual on how to live their lives and how to get on a spiritual journey, or not so much how, but what to do on a spiritual journey. It's impossible to write anybody their journey. That's something they have to undertake, and they'll find out on the way what works for them. So no how-to manuals, but it was a story that basically said you can come from a place where you don't want to be and end up in a place where you definitely want to be. So I talk about the dark and the light, and I talk about the alchemy, which is the transmutation, and the transmutation of the from the dark to the light, the lead to the gold. So I had this story, 79,000 words, and I was meeting people occasionally on my travels and talking to them about it, and a few close friends and relatives that did read the story and sort of commended me on it. And then I returned to Peru in November, so I kind of left it for a little while, just sitting there. And on my return from that second trip and on my travels in New Zealand, I undertook to write it was a short story of the 4 weeks that I spent in Peru, and just bringing the insights that I got from that, and the magic that I got from that into a written form. So the first story is effectively living the magic. The second story I called Return to the Light. So anybody who knows anything about me now, or has listened to any of my videos or read anything on my website, will know that light is just paramount in my life. And so Return to the Light. It's so not so long ago I put it up on the website as a separate story, and then I just 3 or so weeks ago gained that amazing insight that I have spoken about into my mission going forward. So everything came together as to how I might use these writings going forward, and I'm just in the process of completing a third writing, which I've called Blue Healing, and I did a video a few days back on blue healing and what that really means to me. And so that's coming to an end, and that will be up hopefully on my website soon. I am editing it, and I did have a thought about editing and presentation and everything, and even these videos. And I talk a lot about seeing what's below the surface of things. And I thought to myself, I I don't really need to sort of, spend ages producing things as such, all the special effects or anything that you would call that. I'll do my best. But the fact of the matter is that what you were seeing on the surface, so like what you're seeing in terms of this video screen, let alone the message, is the surface, and it's what's below the surface that's important. So what I'm talking about is important, and what's in my writings is important, but it's below the surface. So if the grammar's not quite 100%, well, so be it. I've done my best, but it's the message and the underlying things that you can take from what I'm talking about, and perhaps integrate or inspire. And the purpose of everything that I'm doing is really, it's for inspiration. It's to say that it can be done. I mean, if a person said, well, I'm in a position that I don't want to be in, or I'm not happy, or I'm in the dark, but I think I've done everything there's nothing left to do, I'd probably have to, I'm not a person who's going to argue or anything, but I'd probably have to disagree. When we're talking universal, which I'm talking, in the universe there is an infinite number of things. So therefore, by definition, in anybody's life, if they're open to the universe, there is an infinite number of possibilities for them, which means there's an infinite number of solutions. And it wouldn't matter if you lived a million lifetimes, you would never get through all the possible solutions. So again, just giving that message of hope to people, I think, is the main reason, just the understanding of the alchemy of the dark to the light. So effectively, I've got this website, I've got these stories there. How to access them is through Viviendo la Magia website. So I've got just at the top of this video now, I've put the Instagram page, and the web page is www.viviendolamagianz.com. What I really would like from these writings is that, and these videos, is that if people can perhaps think and understand that what I'm saying is I'm describing magic. I'm describing real magic here. I've experienced it. It is without a doubt that when I talk about the light and the magic and the energies and the unlimited love that's out there, we can all tap into that. We just need to get on the journey, and if we're open and if we approach these things with what I call focused good intent, the path that we get on will take us to where we need to be, and the universe will start providing some answers and some insights. And then ultimately, I really hope that people can perhaps reach a level that I have. And again, we're all going to be on our different own journeys, and there's nothing I can say in terms of do this step now and this step now. In fact, I wouldn't encourage anybody to really do anything specific that I've done. Having said that, if they talked about something general, just certainly about meditation, I mean, that's something that's just so immensely powerful that for anybody that's available, and for people to find their own methodology within meditation might be a great idea. Now, that's a really brief overview. So I would encourage people that if they had any interactions or questions for me, or I've got so much energy, and the energy is flowing through these videos. What you're seeing is energy. You're seeing a video, but you're seeing my energy, or you're experiencing my energy. The same with my writings. I've put energy into those writings, and when you, or if you choose to, or are called to read those writings, the energy is coming to you. And this is excess energy. I've talked about this before, the excess energy that's flowing out of me. Someone like Nikola Tesla spoke so much about free energy and all of these concepts of being able to tap into the universal energy. And I will say categorically, I have done that. So feel free to accept the energy. It's my gift to people. Contact me if you feel so called or want to interact. I'm not a counsellor, but I am someone who's there for anybody who takes the time to spend some time with me on my journey. And on the time you are on my journey, as I mentioned in a very early video, I'm not leaving anyone behind. If people take the time to come to me and ask a question or just offer some insight, I'm going to respond to them. I mean, I'm not inundated, but if I ever got inundated, well, it might be a different story, and I'll let you know. But please feel free to do so. I'll finish this by saying that in my past, so going back to my teenage years and right on through for quite a while, I was very insular, slightly confident in my work, but insular as a person, and I didn't think I had anything to say to anybody, and didn't think anyone would be interested. But now I know that's so untrue. I have lots, and people are interested, and the people who are interested would not have reached this stage of listening to this video. It's again that situation of the right people will, excuse me, I'm getting smoked out here. The right people will turn up and come to you, or they'll appear as necessary. And so I'm so proud of what I've achieved. It's just an immense achievement on my behalf. And I'm just going to give you a quick insight before I leave you into my last writing. So these are the last words of my current writing, I should say. And what I've written, and to summarize right at the end, is I am so proud of myself, in the first instance, for surviving in the darkest of times. Secondly, for never giving up on my quest to find the light. Then finally, or should I say finally for now, living fully in the light. The spiritual journey continues. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you for listening. I will obviously make further videos. The energy is flowing to do so. And I enjoy the journey. We will meet when we should. Namaste.